Hi everyone, my name is Amanda and today I'm going to present to you on myofascial lines. So I drew some drawings here as my model was not able to be with me today, so we are going to start with the superficial back line. So this is the posterior view and it runs down the entire backside in two parts. You can see that. So it's going to run the toes to the knees and then the knees up to the brow, which comes across to the frontal part. So the posture of this is extension. It helps us to resist from curling forward into flexion. So it works in extension and hyperextension, except for in our knees and in our feet. So just to give you an idea, we are standing here in extension of our back. We aren't pulled over into flexion, except for this brings our knees into flexion like so, and into plantar flexion in our feet. The next one is our superficial frontal line. So we'll bring that a little closer. So this runs from the toes to our pelvis, and then our pelvis to our head, bringing to the side of our head. The partial function of this is to balance the superficial back line and to provide support from the top and lift our skeleton to extend from everything that extends away from the line of gravity, such as our rib cage. The movement is to create flexion of the trunk and the hips and extension of the knee and dorsiflexion of the foot. So this is the exact opposite of the superficial front line. So this is allowing us to curl forward into that flexion, but it allows our knee to stay in extension and then to be able to complete dorsiflexion. I am currently in physio for an ankle injury, and I am always told to work my superficial front line to work on my dorsiflexion so I don't lose that in the healing process of my muscles. So next, we're going to talk about the lateral line. So this lateral line runs from the medial lateral side of the foot, comes up to the hip, and then crisscrosses all the way to the ear that is in the head. This is for frontal plane stability to help us to be able to move our muscles in each side in a safe and proper way. It helps us to balance the left and right side as well and mediate the different forces that are being created by the other lines, as well as stabilizing our limbs. The movement is to allow us to do hip and trunk abduction and foot eversion. This also helps us to decelerate when we're becoming standing and to accelerate when we are away from the center of gravity. So just to show, we can move from side to side using our lateral line. We can do some hip abduction and foot eversion, so moving side to side. The last line to talk about is the spiral line. So we have the posterior and front view here. So it loops around the body and a helix, joining one side of the skull across the body to the back, to the opposite shoulder, across front, same knee, hip, and ankle foot arch here, and then back to the back of the body, coming back to the same fascia, linking it all together. It wraps the entire body, and its point is to maintain balance in all the planes. It creates and mediates spirals throughout the entire body. So for me, I like to do a lot of twists and spirals to be able to stretch my back or any of my shoulders after doing heavy lifts. So the best way to do this, I normally do it seated, but you can also do it while standing and just keeping your hips square and turning your spine all the way. So that line allows us to completely do that. And the last thing to talk about is what is unique about the front and back functional lines. So the front and back functional lines are rarely used in standing, but more in athletic abilities. The front and back, the frontal the front and back functional lines, are there to give us power and provide precision and to allow us to make the proper movements within our body that our body needs, whether it's extension or flexion, and it allows us to keep the proper posture in the movements that we are creating in exercise and our day-to-day abilities. Thank you for watching my video on myofascial lines, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks.